The Pittsburgh Steelers' 2025 offseason practices concluded in the middle of June, and next up is the team's annual training camp, which gets underway next week at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. Ahead of that, we will preview the team's offseason roster, 3 players at a time. This Steelers roster preview, which includes an outlook for every player, will be done alphabetically by last name to make it easy to follow. This series figures to exceed 90 players as the team can carry 91 players during the offseason due to the allowance of one international player designation. The next 3 players we preview ahead of the Steelers' 2025 training camp are Darius Slay, Rock Taylor, and DJ Thomas Jones. CB Darius Slay. The Steelers signed Slay to a 1-year, $10 million contract early in the offseason, and that comes on the heels of the longtime veteran playing his last 5 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. Slay turned 34 in January, so there's a good chance that 2025 will be his final NFL season. For his NFL career, Slay, who was selected by the Detroit Lions in the second round, 36th overall, of the 2013 NFL Draft out of Mississippi State, has registered 619 regular season tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 28 interceptions, 160 passes defensed, 2 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, and 1 sack. Last season, Slay played in just 14 regular season games with the Eagles as he missed 2 contests due to minor injuries and another late in the year to rest for the playoffs. While Slay has mostly played as an outside cornerback throughout his NFL career, he does have some limited experience playing the slot. He hasn't, however, logged any special team snaps since the 2020 season, and that's not surprising due to his age. A 6-time Pro Bowler during long NFL career, Slay was also voted a first-team All-Pro once in 2017 as a member of the Lions. Slay obviously was a member of the Eagles' Super Bowl champion team last season, and he has played in 11 career playoff games. Outlook. The Steelers signed Slay to play a huge role in their secondary in 2025. Due to him mainly being an outside cornerback throughout his NFL career, he'll likely continue playing that position in Pittsburgh, and especially when the defense uses any sort of sub-package that includes 3 or more cornerbacks on the field at the same time. The Steelers recently traded for veteran CB Jalen Ramsey, and on the heels of his acquisition, there's a good chance that he might end up the team's starting outside cornerback opposite Joey Porter Jr. whenever base defense is utilized. In sub-packages, Ramsey more than likely will be asked to play in the slot so that Slay can man an outside cornerback position opposite Porter. Slay has some experience in the slot, so don't be shocked if he's occasionally used inside in some sub-packages. While it's very unlikely that Slay will play 100% of the team's defensive snaps on a weekly basis, he still should see quite extensive playing time throughout the regular season. Around 750 defensive snaps in 2025 feels about right for Slay unless he's asked to play more due to injuries at the cornerback position. Slay is an intelligent veteran cornerback, and he should fit in well with the rebuilt Steelers secondary. It's worth cautioning, however, that only once during Slay's NFL career has he registered more than 3 interceptions in a regular season. He only had 1 interception in 2024 as a member of the Eagles, and that came in the playoffs. As far as stats go for Slay in 2025, don't expect gaudy numbers in the takeaway department. He is more of a pass breakup player than anything else at this point of his career. W.R. Rock Taylor. One of the Steelers' original undrafted free agents this offseason, Taylor is a Memphis product. In 4 seasons at Memphis, Taylor caught 163 passes for 2,375 yards and 7 touchdowns in addition to rushing 5 times for another 12 yards. 25 of his college receptions resulted in gains of 25 yards or longer. Taylor mostly lined up wide outside during his 4 college seasons, and thus arrives in Pittsburgh with extremely limited slot experience. He projects as an X-receiver at the NFL level. Taylor had 13 drops during his college career to go along with a contested catch percentage of 56.1, according to Pro Football Focus. His average depth of target in college was 13.4 yards and yards per route run was 2.25. Taylor measured in at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine at 6'17", 213 pounds with 32.25-inch arms and 9-inch hands. He ran his 40-yard dash in 4.44 seconds, posted a vertical jump of 30.5 inches, and a broad jump of 10 feet 2 inches. At his pro day, Taylor posted a short shuttle time of 4.31 seconds and a three-cone time of 7.10 seconds. Altogether, Taylor logged just 32 special team snaps during his 4 years at Memphis, and most of those came as a member of the kickoff return team. He enters the NFL without any college return experience. With the Pittsburgh Steelers trading FS Minkah Fitzpatrick to acquire CB Jalen Ramsey and T. Jonnu Smith, there's an open question of who is going to replace Fitzpatrick in Pittsburgh. Ramsey, despite spending his career at cornerback, has been floated as an option, and in the past, Ramsey has said he believes he could do it, comparing his style to Hall of Famer Charles Woodson. Antrel Rolle went through a similar position switch, moving from corner early in his career to safety, where he turned into a two-time All-Pro. Speaking to Kyle Odegaard for Gambling Industry News, Rolle also compared Ramsey to Woodson and offered advice for what it takes to switch positions. The first piece of advice is to always work the craft that you had before. Still work on that corner craft because it's going to make you that much better as a player, that much more versatile. When I made the transition to safety, yeah, I grew a different mentality, but in my heart I stayed a corner. If I stayed a corner, when I was lined up on the Wes Welkers, the Calvin Johnsons, my mentality never switched. I was just a more physical corner now. Rolle added that it takes a different mental capacity to understand the playbook, since you need to be more aware of what teammates are doing at safety compared to corner. He thinks Ramsey has the ability to play both because of the competitive dog he has, which along with Ramsey's body type, led Rolle to compare him to Woodson. Ahead of a 2018 matchup against Ramsey with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Mike Tomlin said that Ramsey was the best safety prospect as well as cornerback prospect in the 2016 NFL Draft. Rolle has the unique experience of someone who made that switch from a full-time cornerback to a full-time safety, and while he does think Ramsey has the capability to do it, it's not as easy as just throwing the 7-time Pro Bowler at safety and expecting the same level of play. It could be especially tough for Jalen Ramsey to play safety regularly this season given that he was traded to the Steelers in late June and needs to get familiar with a new playbook. Rolle emphasized the need to really get in the playbook to figure out what the whole defense is doing on each play compared to the very basic responsibilities of being on an island at cornerback. Now you have to know if that 3 technique is stunting to the B or the gap. This hole may open up. If they pull, you've got to cancel out a gap, Rolle said. That's a totally different vocabulary than what we learned out there on the island. It's very basic. There's not too much you need to know out there on an island. The Steelers seem to value Ramsey's versatility, and he could certainly see some snaps at safety this season. But it might be a little premature to expect him to play the position permanently this season, and it's more likely that he'll move around defensively. A switch to safety full-time is a possibility down the line, but it doesn't seem as if that's viable for 2025. The Steelers standoff with TJ what continues amid the star edge rusher's desire to become the highest-paid non-quarterback in the NFL. The impasse in negotiations has naturally led to trade speculation. Though teams have reportedly inquired about what, the Steelers' position has been clear. They have no intention of moving the current face of their franchise. However, the Steelers have been evaluating what's trade value, according to Mark Kaboly of The Pat McAfee Show, via Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. Kaboly said on 93.7 The Fan that Pittsburgh is obviously inquiring about the potential return of a what trade, characterizing it as due diligence, as the team is still focused on retaining their all-time sack leader. Still, exploring what's value on the trade market could give the Steelers information to help them in their negotiation and decision-making process. Lowball offers would indicate that other teams would not sign what to a top-of-the-market extension and instead see him as a one-year rental. More aggressive valuations would suggest that other teams see what as a long-term investment and may be willing to meet his contract demands. This is a common practice for teams in contract stalemates, especially with older players. Taking calls on what is unlikely to inspire the Steelers to trade him, but it will clarify his value around the league and help them hone in on agreeable extension terms. Of course, it is possible that another team could blow the Steelers away with their offer and get newly extended general manager Omar Khan to consider moving the 4-time All-Pro. Teams in similar situations have reversed course once the trade compensation hits the table, and Pittsburgh's desire to add a top quarterback prospect in the 2026 draft may make them more willing to consider a deal. It's worth noting, however, that interested teams are likely contenders who will only get better by adding what, capping the value of their draft picks, which will likely be late in the round. The expectation remains that Watt and the Steelers will find a way to agree on terms before the season starts. Watt skipped OTAs and minicamp, but is not expected to hold out from training camp. However, he has never expressed any desire to leave Pittsburgh and seems unlikely to demand a trade to fulfill his financial wishes.